All right, guys, so we are in the last week of our series called The Devil Be Lying. So last couple of weeks, we kind of talked about who the devil is, what he's about, how he works. Last week specifically, we talked about understanding the devil in the details and knowing how he actually wants to work in our lives. And he attacks us physically, he attacks us emotionally, he attacks our egos, he attacks our intellect. And this week, I actually want to talk about a little bit what it looks like and how he attacks who we are in our culture and the things that we're involved with. And one of the greatest mistakes that we can kind of believe is that evil is either really, really incredibly powerful and, we're just overwhelmed with fear on it, or it just doesn't exist and it's not a big deal. So we kind of have these two views, or we overestimate or underestimate it. And it doesn't have ultimate power, but it's not powerless entirely. And we kind of have to know that evil is active, and it's probably influencing your thoughts, your families, your friend groups, the things that you're going through right now. And Jesus himself actually acted and kind of lived his life knowing that evil was real and was always on guard and prayed up and calling things out and helping people. And the key to kind of overcoming, the influence of evil in our lives is to kind of recognize it and to know how it actually operates and what are the things that, it can kind of work into our lives. And when we do that, then we start to see how we can expose it, bring it out, and work with who we are and who Jesus has called us to be. So there's a couple of things I want to chat with, I want to talk with, I want to kind of expose, but I really need everyone to kind of feel, okay, just take a deep breath in, take a deep breath out. I made you a promise at the start of this series, right, that I wasn't really going to call anybody out, or I wasn't really going to come in, right, and start doing like little heart surgery. But I kind of lied about it, because this week is a little bit of heart surgery. And this week is really, going to come into a little bit of our lives and expose some of us in some areas that maybe we haven't actually been honest with ourselves about, given Jesus total control of, or we're just simply plain just ignoring it and just trying to pretend like it's not a real thing and just leaving it there and just saying, I'll just keep doing this, but this isn't that big of a deal, John. And when we recognize it and now that we expose it, now it becomes a choice that we actually all have to make. Am I going to deal with it or not? And that's why I'm going to come into everyone's business a little bit, because unfortunately I came into my own business when I was preparing this week. And I had to take a reflection of my own life, and I had to decide, am I really in line with who Jesus is calling me to be? Am I making excuses for this or for this or this? You know what I'm saying? Becky, can you make sure that I have my little thing when I need it? Yeah. Sorry, I forgot to bring it up with me. So I want to kind of chat with some areas about how the devil can use our culture, use who we are and how we operate in our culture to actually get us off track on who we're called to be. And one of the first things, and this is probably the one that impacts all of us, for sure impacts all of us, is the concept of divide and conquer. Now, anyone know the term divide and conquer? Good. What does it mean? Somebody tell me. Divide and conquer, what does it mean? Some of you put your hands up, right, Mohammed? So when they talk about it in war times, divide and conquer is to split your army so they can conquer more, right? So splitting one into two. Okay, what else? So break it up so it's easier to pick off. Okay? What else? Tina? Okay, so splitting it up so that you can get them to kind of, turn on each other. And this is a very, very famous, repetitive, and effective strategy that the enemy and the devil uses time and time and time again, where he gets people to create division with each other. Now, you're probably looking at me like, John, I ain't divided with nobody. Oh, you are. Because I will tell you the first word that will come to my mind, and it should come to all of your minds. What is gossip? Gossip is literally division. That's what it does. In its truest form, its purpose is to divide. When we talk about my friend to this friend and we say something that they tell us, or we talk about them in a negative way, because that's what gossip does, right? Or am I the only one that watched Gossip Girl? I'm kidding, I never did. So, right, XOXO, that's the thing, right, they did at the end? Okay. In its truest definition, gossip is created to divide us. One week we say, this is my best friend, my BFF, right? Whatever terms you're using. We have bracelets, we got the little heart-shaped hearts, necklaces. You have one, I have one, right? We, have blood bonds, or is that a thing or something? I don't know, man. True Blood, all these shows, they do all these things, right? Okay? So we do that one week, and then the very next week, we're enemies. We're divided. We're not seeing eye to eye. We go from one friend maybe to another, and we complain from this friend. This person did this, so I'm going to go complain about them to this person. It's a very effective strategy. And why wouldn't he use it? Because in our culture, catch me on this one, some people use divisiveness as a badge of honor. Christians do it. We do it sometimes. In the church, we do it sometimes. Oh, that pastor, yeah, I don't really agree with what he's saying, and, what do you think? I don't agree with what he's saying. Like, he's wrong, right? Like, we should not be talking about race issues in the church, right? Like, we're here to study the Bible. Like, we shouldn't really be talking about, riots that are happening out there and black and white issues, and, that's a culture problem. We don't need to talk about in the church, right? Like, yeah, you agree with me, right? And people think that they're doing it with this badge of honor. But there's nothing pleasant about division. You said it. What was the divide and conquer? What is it meant to do? Pick off the enemies. What did you say, Tina, was divide and conquer? Get them to turn on each other. So if you can divide and you can gossip your way and believe that I'm doing the right thing, you can get everyone to start turning on each other. And it's actually not a badge of honor, it's a badge of evil. Oh, that sounds harsh. I told you I was coming into business a little bit today. And I'll tell you why it's a badge of evil. Because in the Bible, Paul actually defines human behavior that is motivated by God and motivated by our enemy, the devil. So in Galatians chapter 5, verses 19 to 26, I actually want to read it to you. And before you put that up, GP, anyone know who Paul is in the Bible? It's a better question, actually. Few. Okay, which means most of you don't. So I'm going to talk. Paul is probably the guy who's written the most books in the New Testament of our Bible. So our Bible split up in Old Testament and New Testament. Old Testament being pre-Jesus, before Jesus. New Testament being from the birth of Jesus and forward. And Paul wrote almost 2/3 of the New Testament. Okay? Paul was one of the main guys that God used after Jesus died on the cross and went up to heaven. God used Paul to go out into the world, spread the gospel, teach people how to behave, teach them the things of Jesus, teach them why they are saved. And he encouraged people, he wrote to people, and this was anointed words from God, what Paul was doing. So he wrote a majority of the Bible. And this is one of the things he wrote to the Galatians, the church of Galatia. This is what he wrote to them. So he said, the wrong things the sinful self does are, the wrong things that the sinful self does are clear. Committing sexual sin, being morally bad, doing all kinds of shameful things, worshiping false gods, taking part in witchcraft, hating people, causing trouble, being jealous, angry or selfish, causing people to argue and divide into separate groups, being filled with envy, getting drunk, having wild parties, and doing other things like this. I warn you, not as I warned you before, the people who do these things will not have a part in God's kingdom. But the fruit of that the Spirit produces in a person's life is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. There is no law against these kinds of things. Those who belong in Christ Jesus have crucified their sinful self. They've given up their old selfish feelings and the evil things they wanted to do. And we get our new life from the Spirit, so we should follow the Spirit. We must not feel proud and boast about ourselves. We must not cause trouble for each other or be jealous of each other. So Paul begins this list by characterizing people who are under the influence of evil. And what was that list? Sexual sin, worshiping false god, taking part in witchcraft, hating people, causing trouble, being jealous, angry or selfish, causing people to argue and divide into separate groups, being filled with envy, getting drunk, having wild parties. Anybody done any of those things? My hands are going right up. Okay. Now, if none of your hands went up, all of y'all lied, so now you should be able to put your hands up anyway. Okay? We've all done this thing. We've all been involved in some way in one of these ways. But it's not to say that we're evil. These are characterizations that are influenced by evil. Ourselves, who we are. When we are apart from God, when we're apart from Jesus, this is who we tend to be. And a lot of times this tends to be actually the job description on many levels of Christians. Like if I were to poll Christians, like a lot of times this is what I see. Hating each other. Oh, the worship music is too loud. I come to church and like there's a list of complaining rather than a list of like, let me just be in the presence of God and be with each other. Sometimes we come in, and some of you don't come on Sundays, but I see it on Sundays. Sometimes people come in and they are ready to just do their thing. Or I don't want to talk to nobody. I'm just here for me. I want to see you. Oh, the worship was not that good. The preaching was too long. Why do we have to do communion? Right? Oh, why did the pastor have to stand outside? I just want to get out of here. Division, division, division. And sadly, that's many times how we tend to operate. And this is actually Satan's job description. This is who he is. And contrast with how God works and how the Holy Spirit works in our lives, here's the list that he gives us. Love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, self-control. The contrast is just too far apart, like they're opposites. And many times, we want to take a stand and we want to say, no, I believe in this, and, this person is wrong, and we have this attitude. But if it brings division and bitterness and it does not bring unity and love, is it Christ-like? And that's a question that we all have to actually answer. Is this me operating in good? Or is it me operating in evil? Because if it brings division and bitterness to the people around you, to yourself, are you actually operating in who you're called to be? And sometimes love is tough, but love never ends tough. So regardless of how you define Christianity, anything with hate and division is just plain not Christian. It's just not who we are. It's not who Christ followers are. It's why sometimes, I don't know if you notice this, but very rarely do I actually say Christian. If you notice me talk, I actually say Christ follower a lot. Because there's a difference between Christian and Christ follower. Because I'm following Christ first. That means my attitude, everything is motivated by Jesus. I follow him. So everything I do is based on him. Christian tends to give me this label that I decide I'm a Christian. It's me. I made the choice. So God, I have God and I get to do whatever I want. I'm self-righteous. And so many times I use the word Christ follower because I want to be in line with I want to be reminded that I'm under the calling and character of Jesus. So who is he calling me to be? And many times that's tough. Love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, self-control. Doesn't always sound like the best things to do when we're frustrated, does it? Right? If you're a Leafs fan, those are none of the qualities that you had on Game 7, did you? Right? When you studied hard for that test and you did not get the grade that you want, not sure if you're feeling love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. Because that's part of our human nature. And we have to choose to not allow influence of the enemy and evil to dictate our behavior. So division, gossip. This is why I'm going to be hard on all of you guys about how you talk about each other, how you talk about your family, how you talk about your friends. It speaks to who you are as a human being. Do you speak highly of them even when they're absolutely rude to you? Have you noticed very rarely, that I talk about my sister? Did anyone even know I had a sister? Who did not know I had a sister? Ooh, most of you. I don't talk about her very often. That's because her and we're just not on good terms. We haven't been for more than a decade. But that doesn't mean I need to speak ill of her, or I need to gossip about her. I need to speak bad about her. I need to just, throw her under the bus. Because that would not put me in the camp of Christ's follower. It would just put me in the camp of me deciding I'm just a Christian, I can just say whatever I want and do whatever I want. I'm better than that person. And that's something I have to choose every single day. Okay, Becky, did you pick somebody? Who'd you pick? Tanya, pop up here, please. Becky picked you, so you can either make Becky sad by not showing up, right? Okay, hurry up real quick. I have this lovely, what do we call these things? The mind word has slipped. What is it? No, this thing. I don't even know. I'm struggling right now. What is this thing called? Cooler, thank you. Okay, so I have this cooler. It's full. You're going to step right up here on the stage. Okay, it's full of water right up here. Yeah, so everyone can see you. Okay, you want to show your bruise off to everybody? Okay, there you go. Okay, she's showing it off. So, all right. So I would like you to do 10 curls. What? Curls. Okay, curls. So you're gonna hold it 2 hands. Praise. Where's praise? Okay, I'll make sure I'm doing this right. Okay, you're just gonna meet up to your chest. Yes. Okay, just like that. Okay, 10. Let's see you do 10. Okay. All right. Everyone, count it out. Go ahead. You getting tired? No? Okay, that's it. Good. Good, right? Felt good? It was easy? Yeah, you felt nice? Yeah. Yeah? Okay.
I feel really hyped up.
You feel hyped up? Yeah. Okay, good. So I would like you to now do them with one hand. Okay? And just keep doing it until I stop. Okay? So just keep going. Okay? Don't worry about counting. See, many times, my second point, you okay?
Yeah.
Just keep going. You good?
Yeah.
Okay, just keep going. No, straight, just straight to your chest. Yeah, there you go. Okay, all right. Just keep going. Keep going until you can't anymore. Okay? Many times, we talk about division. We talk about gossip. But one of the other ways that the enemy gets us is through no, I didn't ask you to switch. The other hand. Don't switch. Yeah, keep going until you can't. Are you good? Are you done?
I'm so good.
You want to keep going? I don't think you got to go like all the way up. You're done. Okay, you're good? Okay. Stay right there. It's perfect timing, actually. Arrogance is one of the ways that God gets us. Or not God gets us, the enemy gets us. You see, when Tanya did the first 10, she was like, yeah, I'm good. I'm great. I love this. I'm hyped. Because success is where arrogance actually gets us. Because when Tanya failed and she couldn't do it, her attitude shifted. It was more humble. It was more like, yeah, I'm done. I'm good. I can't. See, failure is not where arrogance occurs. It's usually success. Because Tanya felt, oh yeah, I got this. I did this. 10? It's all me. Thank you, Tanya. Because even with the praise, when you guys praised her on her failure, she did not have the same attitude that she did when she succeeded. And many times when we succeed, our pride and arrogance gets the best of us. And we start to think we're all that. And as the white people say, in a bag of chips. Right? Many times in our success, and when we do something really well, we just want to be able to say, like, oh yeah, I'm so good. I got this. And when we fail, that's when we start to feel this level of humility. And there are 2 primary ways that we can kind of fall to the arrogance: success, and by also using a false definition of maturity. So let's start with the first one. So the first one, the test of character is just not failure, it's success. And it's far easier to take credit for when things are going well. And the result, people will always have a daily fight with arrogance. See, arrogance will win every time if you let it. That's why guys on the ball court, will only try to play when they think they can win. They don't want to really attempt to play somebody that they're not sure that they're going to really win against, because their pride will take a hit. Sports brings out that level of arrogance sometimes. And it's a battle against pride that is daily. And if you don't take on that battle daily, it'll always win. See, for me, failure and success, how I define it, is the exact same. I don't post about my failures on social. Guess what? I don't post about my successes on social either. For me, personally. Because I'm going to treat it the same. Because the credit goes back to God for me. When I succeed, I give it back to Jesus. I give it back to God. When I fail, I still come to him and I say, yo, I dropped the ball, homie. Like, I need your help. That's the one way I know I need to do it. And the reason why I know I have to do it is because it's a daily fight for me. I'm prideful and I'm arrogant if I don't allow God to have control. I'll take credit for everything every single time. So, it's a daily fight to be in the place where God's called us to be and not let the pride trip us up. So I'll give you a personal example. Can you put up that picture for me? Anyone recognize that? Okay, hold on. For all the non-car people, let the car people help you out. Okay, what is that? What is it? Okay, an R32. Well, a Nissan Skyline. Why is it so popular? It's a JDM car that Paul Walker drove in all the Fast and Furious movies. Okay? And that was mine. And I would like to say, like maybe some of you are like, oh, I don't believe you. If you don't, you can ask those two back there because they were around when I actually purchased it, in 2014. And you remember the smile I had on my face and all the jealousy that was around me? Right? You remember those? I would drive it around and people were just jealous. Kalisha's like, I never cared about that stupid car, right? But Tyler, I remember, he was like hyped up when I had it. What most people don't know is actually the story of how I even got it. And I could look around driving it and just feeling this boss, like, yo, I got money, I'm in the in crowd, all these people looking at me thinking like, yo, this guy is legit, he's got it all, he's got this nice car, like he's flexing. But I had to fight the feeling every day to take the credit for that car because it wasn't even my money. Like every dollar I ever spent on that car to purchase it was given to me by somebody else. Because I went to see that car just to dream about it. I had no intention of purchasing it. And I went to look at it, and I went with a friend of mine, and we were looking at it, and I was just trying to like figure out how much is this going to cost down the road when I'm 30 to buy it. And how old is I? I don't know. How old were you? Were you 15, 16 at the time? Yeah, so I probably would have been like 22, somewhere around that, 22, 23. So almost 10 years ago. And I was just like, yeah, in my mind, I'm like, I'm never going to own this, right? So I just want to do my research. And then I remember Abby was with me, and she was talking to her friend on the phone at the time, and she's like, well, what are you guys doing? And Abby just was telling her, like, oh, John's looking at this car. I don't even know why. We're all the way out in Cambridge, living in Brampton, and he's looking at this car. We can't even buy it. Like, we don't have money, but he wants to dream. And then a friend of ours was just like, well, how much is it going to cost? And Abby said, like, I think it was $7,500. Back in the day, 10 years ago, those cars were real cheap. Ryan, I know he's just crying up there because the $7,500, that's it? Because those cars will now go for like $30K. And I didn't have $7,500 to drop on a fun car. And our friend just looked at Abby and said, well, will this make John happy? Will this guy take a break? Will he like pause and enjoy his life? And she's like, I think so. She's like, yeah, I'll give you the money. I'll give you the money so you can buy it. And I was like, I'm not taking this money. And our friend was like, you're taking this money and you're going to buy this car and you're going to enjoy it. And they're like, and if you ever sell it and you make money, then you can pay me back if that makes you feel better. But if you keep this car, you enjoy it. And I looked at that and I took it and I had to humble myself to take it. And every time I drove that car and every conversation I got into, I had to remind myself when these guys were gassing me up. Like, yo, it's a nice car. Like, yo, this is so sick. And when they were hyping me up, I had to remind myself that I didn't earn it. I didn't deserve it. I never did. So when they asked me, how did you get it? I can either choose to say like, yo, I'm a baller. That's how I got it. Yo, I got cash. Yo, I got stacks. Right? Or I can say, I can tell the truth of how I got it. And then when they asked me, well, what the heck do you do for a living? Like, what do you do for a job to drive this? And I get to say, well, I actually work as a pastor. They're like, you're a pastor? You're driving this car as a pastor? And I get to tell them the story of how I got it and how God is good to me. And he actually takes care of me. And he provides blessings. And he provides the things that I really enjoy. He takes care of me. And I got to have many conversations about that car in Canada and in America when I took it with me. I even had the privilege of praying with people because of this car. And I was sad to let it go, but it needed to happen. I told you guys that material things don't have a hold on me, and I let it go. And as hard as it was, I sold it. But arrogance will win if we don't continue to control it, if we don't continue to submit that to God daily. The goal of our lives as Christ followers is to not get people to follow us, is to get people to follow Jesus. And that was my opportunity with that car, to allow Jesus to win. Because he won. He gave me that car. He gave me the provision. He gave me the blessing to enjoy something that I enjoy. And I could turn it to me or I could turn it to Jesus, and I had to choose that. And the second way that arrogance creeps in is allowing us to falsely characterize maturity as knowledge. So if you listen to many people these days, you think that knowledge equals maturity. The more you know, the more mature you are. But that's actually not true. And the Bible actually points this out to us. In 1 Corinthians chapter 8, verses 1 to 3, it says, "Now I will write about meat that is sacrificed to idols. It is certainly true that we have all knowledge, as you say, but this knowledge only fills people with pride. It is love that helps the church grow stronger. Those who think they should know something do not yet know anything as they should, but whoever loves God is known by God." See, knowledge makes us arrogant, but love actually builds humility. And as people, as Christ followers, we got to be daily transformed by love and humility. And when we do that, we start to resist the devil. We start to resist the enemy. Now, I love knowledge, by the way. One of my favorite things to do, and most of you won't believe me, but that's okay, is I actually enjoy reading. When I find the time, I enjoy reading because I enjoy consuming knowledge. I enjoy learning. I enjoy changing the way I think about things, the way I think about the world, the way I think about people. But that is balanced with my love for God and love for people. Because if I don't balance it, then I'm going to believe that I'm just the best because I know everything. I'm knowledgeable. I'm the most knowledgeable because that's just the way I would believe it. But I have to choose to balance it with love and with humility. The number three thing, the third thing is discouragement. So if the first two were kind of like making you feel like you just got beat down a little bit and I kind of came in your business, well, this is the one that really kind of like helps sink us deeper. And the enemy really likes to use this one, is to discourage us, to make us feel like I'm not good enough. I don't make a difference. I'm always messing up. What's the point? Might as well give up. Anyone said any of those things before? It's one of his other favorite strategies, discouragement. And we've all been there. But you want a little hack to kind of figure out how to avoid discouragement, how to beat discouragement, a little hack? So if you open up your Bible right now, okay, and we go to the book of Ephesians, we're going to replace everywhere it says you and us, and you're going to put your name in it. Okay, so if you open your Bible, book of Ephesians, it's in the New Testament, okay, you're going to replace every word that says you and us. I'm going to read you a little portion of it, okay? So this is from chapter 1, verse 1. It says, I'm going to put my name, okay, wherever those blanks are. "Even before he made the world, God loved John, me, and chose me, John, in Christ to be holy and without fault in his eye. God decided in advance to adopt me, John, into his own family by bringing me, John, into himself through Christ Jesus. This is what he wanted to do, and it gave him great pleasure." Now, I know that sounds really cheesy, and that sounds kind of like, that sounds like super childish. But I really want to encourage you to kind of go for this little hack, because the best antidote to a lie is truth. So if you ground yourself in truth, you'll always learn the truth about yourself. And one of the best ways to avoid discouragement is to know the truth about you, to know that you matter, to know that you're valuable. So I want to encourage you, open that book up, book of Ephesians, write it down somewhere. Every time you feel discouraged, crack open that book and start to replace the words you and us with your name in it. Or just say me, if that makes you feel better. Because that will help you avoid discouragement. And discouragement, which is the fourth thing, if it's left unchecked, it grows and it becomes self-pity. And self-pity is really just discouragement on steroids, or on crack, or MDMA, or heroin, or what's the other one? Can't say marijuana now, it's legal, so. Huh? Angel dust. Xavier, you said yo way too quickly about angel dust, sir. Do I need to speak to your mother? Oh, okay, it wasn't you. Okay. All right. See, self-pity chisels into stone what discouragement whispers to you. It really puts it in our heart. It tells you that there is no way out, that this time is the only way it's going to be. It tells you that it's all your fault and no one's fault at the same time. And it blames it either on everybody and it blames it on yourself. And it's kind of like this weird oxymoron that's playing in your life. And it's living in a state of self-pity really moves us to the sidelines. It's you choosing to get out of the game, not anybody pushing you out, not some bully getting you out of the game. It's you just saying, like, I'm not worth it, so I'm just going to go out here. Woe is me. My life sucks. And when we get into that cycle, it's really hard to get out of it because we automatically believe these things about ourselves, and we also believe that everybody else is at fault, which means nobody could help us. So when we get stuck in this, the enemy loves this because it's an effective strategy that is counter-culture to the gospel. And it's the final stage of discouragement, and it robs us of all our joy. And if the devil can take your joy away, anyone remember the lion video from a couple of weeks ago? Right, the one where the lion came and just tore the calf apart, the little calf that was just sitting there. Yeah, that's what the enemy wants you to do. He wants you to be in a state of no help, no hope, no change, no nothing, and you're just never good. You're just stuck, and he can just come and effectively take you down because you're never going to put up a fight. And he can steal your joy, and he loves to do that. I told you the devil is unrelenting and cruel. So he's going to work hard to make sure he can get you into a place that is you can pity yourself. Because then you'll never believe the truth. You'll never believe if I say to you that you're loved. Because you'll tell yourself, well, I'm not loved. If you love me, John, then you'll drive me downtown whenever I want. Yes, Jay, I'm looking at you over there. Huh? Yeah, that's right. Did you not call me this week? Was it this week or last week? To drive you downtown? Ah, yeah, this week, that's right. Living in North York wants me to drive him downtown. So self-pity will tell you that you just don't matter anymore. And nobody cares about you. And it's all your fault, all at the same time. And if you let him, the enemy comes in and he takes that and he just grows that like a huge tree in your life. And it becomes hard to cut down. And that's how he uses all our situations, friends, your family, your grades, sports teams that you're involved in. When you try something and you fail at it, you just get discouraged and then you start to just believe that there is nothing out there for you. The last thing is the YOLO life. Everyone remember what YOLO stood for? YOLO, Lil Wayne. Was it Lil Wayne? Drake and Lil Wayne, right? Yeah? What does it stand for? Muhammad, you yelled it. What does that mean? Okay, well, thank you. I understand that you just said it again to me again. What does it mean? Why? Why do we say this? Why is this statement popular? What's the purpose of it? Okay, so people can just do dumb stuff. What else? Why is it popular? Okay, take advantage because you have nothing else to live for. Do you have your hand up, or are you just putting your hair, tucking your hair? Tucking your hair. No, not you. You were just tucking your hair. Okay. Anyone else? No regrets. Okay, what else? Shoot your shot. One shot, you shoot your shot. Okay. Anything else? Anyone else? It's good. Tina, last one. Free pass to do stupid stuff. Why? Okay, so basically, the idea is that because I only live once, it doesn't matter what the consequences are. So really, there really is no consequences because I only live once. Might as well enjoy it all. One of the biggest lies told. And we believe this lie because we think that, well, I only live once. The problem is you don't only live once. Okay? You just don't. You're on this earth for a reason. Jay, you should be able to answer this question to me because we had this conversation in the car. What's the only guarantee you have in life? The only promise that can be kept in life? Yeah, I know your hand's going to go up, but hold your thought. I want to hear from other people. What's the one guarantee you have in life that is a fact that cannot be changed for every single person on this planet? Oh my gosh, taxes is one, yes. But not for every single person because, Sri Lankans, we don't pay our taxes. So, okay, there's a lot of hands here, so I'm going to go there, Valeria. Huh? Death. Death is our only guarantee you have in life. You have, I have, no one on this planet for the last 10,000 years has ever escaped death, right? No one. It's the only guarantee we have in life. What makes you think that your life is YOLO? We die, but if a good God created us, do you really think he only created us for 80, 90 years, tops? You don't think he created you with purpose? Why would he put the passions and desires in your heart? and the things that you care about, why would it all be all different? This is rhetorical. I appreciate the answer though. Because God has more for you than just this life alone. That's why he's created you with a body, a spirit, and a mind. 3 unique things that, automatically coincide with God the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. God knows what he's doing, just so you know. The Creator knows what he's doing when he made you, which means your life was never going to stop after death. You do matter beyond death. It's why I celebrate my sister-in-law who died at 32 years old, even though it's hard to lose her, because I know where she is today. She gets to spend eternity with Jesus in heaven, celebrating all the good that she has done and waiting for the rest of us to come and join us, to join her. And YOLO says that this is really no problem. Problem is the Bible teaches us opposite of that. Proverbs chapter 16 verses 25 says, there is a way that seems right to people, but that way leads only to death. You're right. It is YOLO. See, the Bible got YOLO right. You only live once. So if there's a way that seems right to people, you're right. It does lead to death. And that's the only guarantee you get. And usually we take YOLO and we make small compromises here and there because we really believe that, hey, it's no consequence. Because everyone thinks that, cheating on somebody is such a bad thing. How do we get there? It's never just getting there. Nobody ever wakes up one morning and says, I'm just going to cheat on my spouse or I'm going to cheat on my girlfriend. That's what I want to do. I absolutely want to hurt the person that I care about. I don't think anybody's waking up in the morning saying that, correct? It never happens that way. It's always small little compromises and choices that we make for ourselves. And we say, it's okay. Well, it's okay for me to go to lunch with this girl. I know I got a girlfriend, but I'll go to lunch with this girl. I know this girl likes me, so, I don't want to be rude, so I'll go to lunch with her. And, it's just lunch, no big deal, John. It's not that big of a deal. I'll just hang out with her. She wants me to come over to her house later. John, it's not that big of a deal. It's 5 o'clock in the evening. It's not like I'm spending the night. So I'll just go hang out with her. Yeah, there's nobody else there, but we're not going to do anything. There's light outside, John, at 5 o'clock. You already know that only all the crazy stuff happens at nighttime, right, John? So 5 o'clock, no big deal. I'm just hanging out with her. We're just friends. We're just kicking it. We're just going to watch Netflix, but really we're only going to watch Netflix. I promise. And slowly that turns into conversations that opens other doors, that opens opportunity for us to get a little closer to them and then go, all right? And then get a little closer and get a little closer. And then maybe the hand goes a little bit lower and then and we start making choices. Why are y'all acting like y'all don't know about none of this? I'm old. Really? Old enough for you to ask for rides? Because you're not old enough to get a ride yourself because you can't drive. I'm old. That's okay, I'll take it. Remember that when you ask me for a ride next time. Better yet, remember that when you ask me for advice because I'm too old to give you advice. Why are you going to try and troll me, man? Come on. You know it's going to come back stronger. At the end of the day, compromise, big mistakes that we look at in our lives, friends that we lost, family that we lose, things that we wish we didn't do. We never just wake up in the morning and say, that's what's going to happen in my life. I'm going to do this. We make little choices here and there that cost us something. We think that, it's just not that big of a deal. And the enemy's saying yeah, keep doing that. Keep making that choice and that choice and that choice and that choice, because sooner or later, you're just going to get to the place where I want to get you to. And he's cunning and cruel and patient like a lion waiting for its prey. He never told Eve in the story of Adam and Eve, just say, eat that apple right now. Take it right now. I'll bite you if you don't do it. He didn't do that, did he? He didn't force her to sin against God. What did he do? He said, doesn't that apple look good? Doesn't that fruit look good? Like Eve, why would God ask you, if it looks so good, why would he ask you to not eat it? It doesn't really make sense, does it? And he got Eve to take small steps, little baby steps to keep looking at that, keep questioning God, keep questioning why she can't do it, until she was bold enough to say, you know what? There ain't no God telling me that I can't eat no fruit. Yo, Adam, come here. You taking some too. And they commit sin. Oh yeah, by the way, it was Eve who did it, right? And then shared it with Adam. Adam just kind of stood on the sidelines watching. But she wasn't bullied into it. She wasn't forced into it. She didn't wake up saying, I'm going to do the one thing God told me not to do. She didn't wake up that morning saying that. She was led through little choices, little small compromises, until she got to the point she's like, you know what? YOLO. I can take this fruit. No big deal. See, the first moral lapse is always the hardest. Then it just gets easier and easier to make choices and make mistakes. And you may be asking God for more in your life, but whenever you ask God for more, he usually asks back, what are you already doing with the things that I gave you? So sometimes we want more. We just want more and more and more and more. I want to be successful. I want to get into this school. I want to have this career. I want to have these friends. I want to have these accolades. I want to have this GPA. Right? I want to have this job and this success path. But what are you doing with what he's already given you? With the friends that he's given you? The people you have influence over? Are you treating that well? Are you utilizing those things well? Are you doing the things God has called you to do? Are you faithful in those things? Are you showing love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, self-control in all these areas? If you're not faithful in the little things, you won't be faithful in the bigger things. And obedience may seem boring or inconvenient in the short term, but it is deeply satisfying in the long term. See, I wish I could go back in time and be obedient. I wish I could have gone back for some of the choices and decisions that I made and said, like, I wish I was just obedient in this moment and this moment, because then I would have never have done here. I would have been more satisfied and richly rewarded for who I'm called to be. But I can't look back, and I can't wish for more. All I have is today. I have tomorrow, and I can choose to be obedient today. I can choose to say, you know what? It's boring to not go to those parties. It's boring to not hang out with these friends. It's boring to be able to say, like, you know what, man, I just can't do that. I can't go clubbing with you tonight or ever, because it's just not my lifestyle. It's boring to be obedient to who God's called me to be. By the way, I'm not trying to diss clubbing. I'm only saying that because that's my weakness. That's an area that I struggle with, so I can't put myself in an area that I would compromise on God with, who he's called me to be. And I have to make decisions that are hard. It is really easy for me to sometimes drive some of you guys home, that are female, by the way, when it's just convenient when you live up the road. Rather, I have to go drive 10, 15 minutes to Rashawn's house, pick him up, to drive somebody that's 3 minutes down the road. Because obedience in the short term rewards me in the long term. Because I have to be willing to say, God's asked me to do it the right way. He's asked me to do it his way. And his way says that I just won't compromise. I won't YOLO any moment of my life. I have to do it the right way, the hard way. And the reason why I'm passionate about this, the reason why I'm bringing all of this to your attention and right up to your forefront of your minds and hearts, is because the enemy tries to get you with evil. He tries to influence your thoughts, tries to tell you you ain't worth it. You're not beautiful enough. You're not attractive. You're not talented. That your friends are more gifted and talented than you. That you'll never get into those schools. You'll never have those careers. If you got rejected by your school, then you're stupid for some reason. Or you're not athletic enough, that you'll never make it, that you'll never matter. The enemy tries to get us with all these things. It's why social media is such a lovely tool for him. He loves it. He just sits there and says, y'all be really doing the work for me. You guys have organized this and really made it easy for me to do what I do. Because you already start to self-hate and self-pity yourself, and he just has to just keep encouraging it. And I want to bring these strategies that the enemy has to the forefront so that you know how he uses it in culture and how he uses it to try and get us to falter and not go for who he's called us to be. But I'm telling you, every single one of you has value. Every single one of you. You have value in your life, your families, your friends, this church, this youth group. Every single one of you. But it's up to you to decide, are you willing to step up? Are you willing to say, I'm going to do it the hard way? I'm going to go for what God's called me to go for. I'm going to look at the characteristics that he's called me to be. Love, joy, patience, kindness, peace, self-control. And maybe some of you think that I don't have self-control. Trust me, I do. This is my version of self-control. This is the best you're going to get out of me because, trust me, I could be far, far, far worse. If you think I'm not patient, trust me, I'm far less patient without Jesus. And you can, again, ask those two. They were around when I was in the beginning stages of figuring myself out. You think I'm rude now? I was way ruder back then, right? I've made people cry. That's how rude I've been. And thinking that I was still right to be that rude. I've had to work on this because I do not want to let the enemy to use me to corrupt myself and lead other people the wrong way, lead my friends and family the wrong way. And I ultimately want to live a life that says that I wake up every morning with purpose. And that's how I choose to wake up every single day, even if it ain't going my way, by the way. There are some days that just don't go my way, but I still wake up and I still operate my days with purpose. And say that I matter, I'm valuable. The enemy is not going to have a hold on me. The devil is a liar. And we're going to keep moving forward in the things that he's called me to do, God's called me to do. So, as we wrap up this series, I really want to encourage you to know that as powerful, and I'm going to put that in brackets there for you, as powerful as the devil appears to be, he really ain't that powerful. And if you don't believe me, open up the last book of the Bible called Revelation. It's called Revelation because it reveals to you what's to come. And in that book, it talks about what it looks like at the end of our time, at the end of this story. And at the end of that story, the enemy, the devil, is already defeated. He's just living on borrowed time. So his job, he knows he's defeated. He's just trying to get as many of us to join him at the end of the journey. So he's trying to distract us, dissuade us, and not live up to the purpose that God's called us to. Because he knows that if we can figure it out, we'll leave his world behind. We'll leave everything he's trying to offer us behind because it ain't worth it. Every promise from the enemy is just not worth it if we can figure out who God's called us to be. So that's why I bring the attention of the devil not in a way to make you scared or fearful of him, to say just how powerful God actually is. Because he's already defeated all of that. And now it's up to us to choose to actually operate with him. And choose to say, like, I ain't going to fall for this. I'm not going to fall for this. I'm going to keep moving in the path that he's called me to. And that path is hard. I recognize and I promise you, it ain't easy. But if you're willing to stick to it, you're willing to go for it, you will discover things about yourself no matter what age you're at, no matter where you're at. You will start to discover things about yourself that God is calling you to, and you'll start to put the pieces together.